Hello there, and welcome to Good Game News, the gaming news show where we mute the game chat, block the toxics, and celebrate some of the good news stories, the weird and wonderful news stories, and the laugh out loud news stories that you can't have missed and that you might have missed this week. It's time to cleanse the negativity, so hit that subscribe button for your weekly hard reset, and let's get into it. This week, Xbox games are coming to other platforms, Baldur's Gate 3 has love in the air, and the Switch 2 is a major win for backwards compatibility. Let's kick things off with Baldur's Gate 3 because it's been one hell of a week for 2023's Game of the Year. Patch 6 has arrived this week with a boatload of new updates, but in the spirit of Valentine's Day, love is in the air across our camps. The patch introduced a bunch of new and randomised kisses for every romantic partner you can smooch in the game, so there's no more repetitive pecks on the cheek. No doubt someone will have cycled through every single one by the time this video goes up, but it was Valentine's Day this week, so I suppose if there ever was a time to kiss all of your companions on the mouth, it's this week. The patch also introduces a ton of new animations for companions, legendary actions for bosses in honor mode, and so much more. But that wasn't the only good game story out of BG3 this week. A Nicolas Cage themed Baldur's Gate 3 fan edit did the rounds earlier in the week after going a little bit viral on Twitter. And it even earned a response from the devs themselves, although apparently they're not a huge fan of the Cage if their reply is anything to go by. Made by Jerkisler on Reddit, the Baldur's Gate 3 artiste fused basically every major Baldur's Gate 3 character with our one and only Nicolas Cage himself. Larian, doing the Lord's work themselves, simply said, "Could you not?" Personally, I think the Cage's face on Jaheira fits spookily well, but maybe that's just me. Alright, let's step away from the solid ground of actual facts and step into the heady aroma of rumours and leaks, shall we? A new rumour is doing the rounds that indicates that the next Nintendo home console, which we're fully expecting to be a successor to the Switch, will be packing backwards compatibility for both physical and digital games for its whole lifespan. The rumour, from Universal Nintendo, says that fans can not only expect to play the games that they already actually own, but potentially hold out for upgraded versions of the titles. It's apparently thanks to the developers being offered the means to upgrade their games to match the specs of the new console, although obviously that does somewhat mean the ball is in the developers' court as to whether they feel it's worth it, but this is good game news and we're feeling positive about it. It is a relief to some, given that we've had absolutely no indication whatsoever that we won't have to buy the games we love all over again, but I can't say that the chance to upgrade our games could come in handy, especially since the specs indicate that we could be in for the most powerful Nintendo console we've ever had. Some much needed backwards compatibility follows a claim by Reuters that the Switch 2 might need to wheel out some of these game upgrades. The site claims that the next Switch will be packing a custom Nvidia chip that serves as an upgrade to the console's current Tegra X1 chip, made by the same company, and it's hoped that this update will lead to more amplified frame rates, which will hopefully mean we'll never have to expose our eyes to the likes of a chugging Pokemon Scarlet and Violet again. But there we go, going negative again. This is a positive thing. Along with a bigger 8-inch screen, the next Switch looks like it's going to be beefier and better all round. Count us the hell in. So there's some good Nintendo news. Let's take a look at the other console big players, shall we? It'd be easy to look at the last week as a bit of a tire fire for Microsoft and Xbox, but this is the Good Game News show. So good news, Xbox fans. Not every big exclusive is making its way to other platforms. And good news, everybody else. Some of them are. In what I'm tentatively calling a win for everyone, Xbox revealed this week that just 4 exclusive games are coming to other consoles, and while we don't absolutely know which games those will be, reports have suggested that we're most likely looking at Sea of Thieves, Grounded, Pentiment, and Hi-Fi Rush making the jump to other platforms at some point in the future. Phil Spencer specifically said that Indiana Jones and Starfield would not be leaving the console, but that they are open to changing that rule further down the line. There are a lot of lines to read between with that one, but while we aren't seeing the Xbox apocalypse like some online seem to believe when this news first broke, we could see bigger Xbox titles move over to different consoles when the time is right, which, to be fair, isn't exactly something we can argue with because that's not a million miles from when PlayStation have essentially done the same by moving some of their exclusives onto PC, for example. Xbox also confirmed that a new console is in development, so they'll be competing with PlayStation for a few years yet, and they also said that day one Game Pass titles aren't stopping anytime soon either. So yeah, hopefully a big win for everyone, whether you're an Xbox fan, a Nintendo fan, or a PlayStation fan. More games being available isn't really a bad thing, is it? And finally, something completely different. A decades-old GTA secret finally has an answer, and it's about as ridiculous as you might expect. The GTA franchise is absolutely crammed with little Easter eggs that keep us exploring our favourite fictionalised US of A. Stuff like the Statue of Liberty's beating heart or ghosts spread out across Los Santos. Rockstar like to keep us guessing. In a brand new example of players refusing to move on from a GTA secret until it's solved, We finally have an answer for a mystery that has been around for 13 years. One bizarre feature, or bug, players could never really figure out which it was, hidden in GTA 3 is that the moon would change its size once it is shot with a sniper rifle, and this carried over to San Andreas. It was never really understood why this was the case, but luckily we've got an ex-Rockstar developer to fill us in on the bizarre detail. Taking to Twitter, Obi Vermi explained that when the game's artist delivered the texture for the moon, nobody could quite decide what size it should be. In fact, he had artists coming back and forth to him asking him to change the size over and over again. So, by his suggestion, the moon was made changeable in the game so that the devs could decide which one they preferred. The thing was, the artists never actually got back to Vermi, leaving the testing feature completely forgotten about, which is why it ended up in the finished game by the time it shipped. There's nothing like a decades-old mystery being solved to bring people together, and the replies to Vermi are a treasure trove of details that peel back the curtain around the development of GTA. And it's a nice reminder that beyond the incredible AAA studio polish that we've all got used to, real people are behind the best parts of our games. So there you go, that's your weekly dose of hopefully positive gaming news to cleanse your homepage and get you ready for what we're sure will be another week of great decision making from everyone in the games industry. Look forward to that. Let us know down in the comments what you've made of all this Xbox news. Do you think it's a positive like us, or are you still getting bad vibes from the whole thing? Drop your thoughts, we'd love to hear from you. And while we've got you here, if you want to see more of what we do at GG Recon that's not quite so happy-go-lucky as all of this, check out this video, where we dive into the cesspit that is Yellow Paint Discourse.